morning, everybody. Welcome to Conscious Straight Talk with Katie and Lindsey.
Hi, my name is Katie Hutchinson, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm also a certified mediator. And happy Monday. It's good to have you guys here today.
Because it's going to be a great week. I'm Lindsey Kearns. I'm the mama behind MalibuMamaLoves.com, and I'm also a certified conscious trauma-informed life coach. So I know that you guys have been hearing all about this in the news, and if you haven't been, we do need to talk about it. Mm-hmm. Mass shootings seem to be happening everywhere right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we're only 20 weeks into 2022, into the year 2022, and yet there have been 201 mass shootings. Mm-hmm. That's an average of 20 shootings per week. This is a very, very important topic to me.
Yeah, it is. A mass shooting is an incident where 4 or more people get hurt or injured, and that does not include the shooter.
Mm-hmm. So the latest and largest mass shooting was in Buffalo, New York. It was in a grocery store. 10 people were killed, and I believe one was injured.
Yeah.
And then the one right before that, and there's so many, we're just referencing
the second largest of all.
The second largest was at an Arkansas car show where 27 people were injured and one person was killed. And I do notice that it's like there need to be more and more numbers occurring for people to pay a little bit more attention. Have you noticed that?
I just feel like there's more shootings occurring because they're all so different. You know, mm-hmm. Some of them we have 10 people that have been injured. Mm-hmm. Some of them we have 30, 40 people. Some of them,
it's just a suicide, some of them. Or they'll shoot one person and then shoot themselves.
Yeah, and it's really scary as we seem to be normalizing mass deaths. Mm-hmm. And I understand why. I mean, COVID alone has had 1 million deaths in this country. Mm-hmm. That has all desensitized us. Mm-hmm. We have to rationalize and cope with that on a human level, and it is desensitizing us from what death really is. Mm-hmm. It just seems to become part of life.
It definitely has become a part of life, and I'm terrified every single day that I send my kids to school. What we really need are alternatives to violence.
Yes.
And what do these people look like? These people are usually men. There's only been one female mass shooter that I'm aware of. They usually have a lot of unhealed trauma. They usually feel so isolated and alone.
Yeah,
they
like
don't feel
outcasts.
They don't feel heard. And so many times it's not even true. People do want to reach out to them. They do want to penetrate them, but they just can't get through to them. And I did read an interesting article. What?
Yeah.
Do you want me to talk? Yeah. Okay. So there is a young adult named Trunk, and that's his alias. And he was planning on doing a school shooting with a couple of his friends. He said that he just felt so alone. He felt like an outcast. He just felt like people didn't pay attention to him. He said in his journal,
all the things we just described. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He said in his journal that the night before the shooting was supposed to occur, that he wrote, if I could just go to this baseball game, if I could just date this girl, if I could just have this car, et cetera, et cetera. So the night that he and his friends were getting prepared to do everything, they were doing like a trial run, and they were all in their outfits, all in black with their guns, et cetera. And they got pulled over by a cop. And it was a standoff, and they decided to stand down. And he did go to jail for 7 years. And so did his cohorts.
For having the guns?
Oh, yeah, because they found out what was happening.
Okay.
What was happening was that they were planning on having a school shooting. Everything was they tried to hijack a car before this, by the way, and didn't get away with it. So I want to read to you about what Trunk said about somebody else that then did commit a school shooting, and how he said he would talk to him. I think it's really important and just so eye-opening. So what he says is that he wishes that he could have spoken to this Elliott kid that did the school shooting. I can see exactly where he was coming from, the reasoning behind it. If you've ever been on the outside of the fence where you are an outcast, it really hurts. Why me? Why do they get to have all the fun? Why not me? This guy wasn't evil. No one's evil. He was definitely wrong. Me personally, I could have helped him, meaning Trunk, because I know what he was thinking personally. He wanted so much to be accepted. He was willing to kill other people to be accepted. That means that I know he had nights when he cried himself to sleep and prayed to God, whether he believed in God or not. I read my journals before the night that we went out. This guy, Trunk, did. It was all if only, just like I said before. If only I could go out with this girl. join this team, go out to this place. I wanted attention. It's if someone would have come up to me and said, you don't have to do this. You don't have to have this strange strength. We accept you. I would have broken down and I would have given up. And I think that this is so telling.
Yeah. Well, it's very, very important because, you know, this is what these people are feeling. And that's why we say they need alternatives. Okay. When we were talking about the ISO and the fentanyl, this is a perfect example because, you know, part of the equation is, well, let's just remove all the guns. Well, they did that in what was it, Japan or China? They removed all the fentanyl within a month.
Oh, China, you said.
Within a month, ISO was there, right? If we remove all the guns within a month, it'll be something else. I think the answer is more, let's educate, let's understand, let's be part of these communities. Let's notice as human beings that outcast that's sitting over there who might be an incredibly amazing flower just waiting for the right small ray of sunshine. And that could be you. A simple even like, hey, how are you today? Just like this person just said in this article, if someone had just come up to me and been like, hey, I notice you. You don't have to do this crazy stuff. There's another way.
Yep. And I do agree with what she is saying. I do agree with what this man Trunk is saying. I'm on the edge though in regards to guns. We go back and forth with this. She and I argue a little bit about this because I'm not sure. I do believe the cat's out of the bag, but I have seen some reform that's been helpful. So we can talk about this in the future. But
there is some reform that's helpful, but you have to look at it at a country to country basis, right? And what's working in one place. And we've tried a lot of things in this country.
There's other things
that
we
have been
can try.
Unsuccessful, but I think the most important thing is what we're doing is trying to normalize talking about the mental health care aspect of it, because that's the important part. That's what's stemming and making all of these mass shootings happen, are these incredibly painful people.
But they don't come into therapy. They do not
that's why
come
we were
into
saying
therapy.
Community. That's why we were saying community.
I agree.
When you're out in your community, reach out, share a smile with somebody, right? And we want to give you guys some tips too on what to do and how to handle the mass shootings if you ever get caught in the situation. But preempting that just when you're going out with your kids or you're doing, you know, stuff with your friends or shopping on your own, whatever it is really good to just be aware. You had some great tips with that.
Well, one thing is I always tell my children, if you see a kid that nobody's playing with, go up and say hi, include them, be nice to them. It's they want to be included. It's even if they come off as not being nice or being a bully, I'm sure that underneath it all they want to be included. So
everybody just wants to be understood.
Yes. So in regards to school shootings, what I would recommend is I would recommend talking to your kids about, I know I do this and hopefully you do this too. I talk to my kids about where you're going to hide on the playground, figure out where you're going to hide. Best ways to hide.
Kids, hug your backpack.
Hug your backpack.
Have it right against your chest.
Great thing. Yeah. Climb in the dumpster wherever you have to go. Figure out where you're going to go in the hallway if the doors are locked, because that's what's happening with these drills is they're locking all the doors. So if you're stuck in the hallway or you've gone to the bathroom, you're
and
out
the
of
flip
luck.
side to that as a parent, get involved. Get in there with your community. Give them your great ideas or help make somebody else's great idea more safer and happen.
It's hard though when you're a working mom. It's hard. It's really hard. So I'm not saying life is hard. So the other thing is, what are you going to do if you're in the hallway?
I know. Life is hard.
What else? What are you going to do if you're in the hallway or you're in the bathroom? Where are you going to go? Okay, so that's number two. Number three, if you're in the cafeteria, what are you going to do? Where are you going to hide? If you're in your room, in your classroom, where are you going to go? Yeah, the door's going to be locked, but do you want to sit, do you want to be up there against the glass with the opening to the door? No, you don't. You want to go figure this out. So these are things you want to be preemptive. When you go out, let's just say two girlfriends are going out. We're going out to dinner.
Anything.
Yeah. Where are we going to, before we walk into this restaurant, okay, we know the layout of this restaurant. Where are we going to go if something were to happen? At this event, if something were to happen, where are we going to go? Where are we going to hide? How are we going to have each other's back?
I want to jump in and add in that a very important thing is to have an emergency meeting spot. And I do this with my kids everywhere we go someplace where there's a mass amount of people.
Absolutely.
There's always 5 p.m. If we all get separated, this is the spot. If you get lost at any time during the day, you come here and we'll find you here. And that's a really important thing to have, even with your girlfriends. if a mass shooting happens like they did in Vegas, remember those?
Yeah. Oh, I have friends that were there.
And they run. And then it's like hours of like, I can't find my friend. Were they one? Were they the one? Were they one?
I know.
And so it's scary. But if you have a safety meeting spot and everybody knows to go there.
But you need a safety meeting spot far off the beaten path. I know I had friends that were in the Las Vegas shooting. I know people that were in the borderline shooting. One thing that I do know about
you wanted to share the experience about the borderline shooting.
I do.
That was inside a bar.
That was inside a bar, local bar here where a lot of kids hang out.
It was a veteran, wasn't it? It was somebody that was in the Army and they weren't being treated.
Wouldn't surprise me, but we need to take care of our veterans.
And it was a veteran that hadn't been treated.
They all need to be treated.
Severe PTSD, and no one had been helping him. He needed medication. I'm unclear as to why he chose that spice, but I know that he was a veteran.
I'm not sure. I do know some people that were there, and I know one person that was there that grabbed a bunch of people and got them up into a hiding space because this person knew where to go and saved a bunch of people's lives as a result. Right then and there. Don't freeze. I mean, this is not the time to freeze. Easier said than done, but this is the time to just get under a table, just hide. Do not provoke. Hide.
Yeah. Well, and that's what the planning comes in so important because your tendency can be to freeze or to even fight back. Let's go jump at the gun. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're not in full control. They did do that
recently, and they actually took the person down. But
my point is, the planning, the preparation, the awareness, the understanding that this is a possibility. Life is not a video game. This is real. And we do need to protect ourselves and our children and just be smart. And we can have a great way of life here. This country is beautiful with more freedoms than anybody else has.
I know, but we need to not take advantage of those freedoms, right?
And I think we do that with a lot of understanding and awareness and community. So with that, we'd love to hear you guys' comments. What do you guys think about all of these shootings and some great tips and whatever? We'd love to hear it.
Yes, I definitely want to talk about this again in the future. So tell us what you think.
We need to talk about it.
We need to talk about it in time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Have a good
Have a great week, you guys. See you Wednesday.
Bye-bye.